Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Dating is Hard podcast. I am your host, Joe Welkie. This is a podcast that's all about dating, relationships, love, sex. I talk to the most random people that I can that I've met through dating apps. We get into all of the theories and musings surrounding dating. If you want some more information about the show, you can go to datingishardcomedy.com. You can follow the Instagram at Dating is Hard Comedy. You can follow me on Instagram. You can see when I'm doing shows and all that good stuff. You can follow me at Joe Welkie. The Dating is Hard live show is every fourth Wednesday at 9:30 at PAC Theater. And PAC is a by-donation theater, which means if you don't have enough money, if you don't have any kind of money, you can still come to the shows. But if you enjoy what you see and you can throw a couple dollars their way, it's greatly appreciated. It helps the theater run. And, all right, let's get into it. Today on the program, I have someone that I met via my Tinder profile. I've been putting out, kind of ads on dating apps. Not really ads, but I let people know what's up. I'm looking for people to come on the podcast and talk about dating and their experiences. If they got any funny stories, any kind of opinions they have that they would like to share, you know? And, today's guest had some, pretty good stuff going, you know. Her first experiences with dating apps are a lot more unique than all of ours. She actually started doing it while in Russia at the Olympics. And you get to hear a little bit about that. So without further ado, let's get into my little chat with Rachel. Today, we have a lovely lady that I actually met through Tinder. A lot of the people that have been on here are from Bumble, but we got a stray Tinder person. And funnily enough, I think I'm gonna confidently say that I think that we matched before on Tinder, just never met up. So I just would like to introduce to the program Rachel. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So we started talking through Tinder, and now you're here on the old Dating is Hard podcast. How's Tinder going for you?
Really mediocre lately.
Mediocre.
Yeah.
Ups and downs?
It's been very, there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been a lot of downs. I got canceled on tonight.
That's why she's here, everybody.
I just came back from Boston. I went on 2 Tinder dates while I was in Boston.
Well, how long were you in Boston for?
A week.
Okay, obviously not looking for love in Boston.
No, just something to do.
So what did you end up doing in Boston with the Tinder dates?
I went...
Did you throw some tea in a harbor?
No, one of them did take me to see the USS Constitution, though.
There you go. That's something.
Yes, I got to see where that happened.
I feel like that's a very underrated aspect of dating apps, is if you're on vacation, you can, get shown around and do some kind of unique things wherever you're at.
That was kind of the whole reason I joined Tinder to begin with. I was bored.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't bored.
I was definitely lonely.
Do we go into this now? Is this
Yeah.
where this starts? Well, I joined Tinder while I was volunteering at the Olympics in Russia.
Whoa!
Yeah, and I don't know,
Sochi.
it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
The big joke at the Russian Olympics was that they failed to get in a supply of condoms, so that everyone was just sleeping with each other nonstop. Mm-hmm. And because Tinder existed, it just
amplified it
completely amplified it, and it was just nonstop swiping.
Wow.
Athletes.
Yeah, I hear the Olympic Village gets fucking wild.
Yeah, it's just oh, here's the Austrian hockey team. Let's swipe through. Yeah, so one of my 7 roommates.
7 roommates? Well, wait, hold on. Were you covering them or something? Like, what? Did you just go to the Olympics, or were you working there?
So one of my best friends made it into the Olympics, and I drunkenly promised her that if she made it into the Olympics, that I would find a way to go.
That's amazing.
So I went, and I lived up in Mammoth Lakes for 7 years, so I had a bunch of people I knew, because it was the first time that, like, park skiing, slopestyle, half pipe, that sort of thing was in the Olympics. So a bunch of people I knew were going to the Olympics for the very first time.
Dude, that's so cool.
So it was really, really fun, but it was hilarious at the same time, because everyone, like, if you weren't on Tinder yet, that's when you joined it.
Wow. So was that your first experience with Tinder, or was at the Olympics?
Was at the Olympics.
Damn, that's pretty epic.
And I never shared this with anybody. I mean, I told people, but
dating is hard exclusive.
No, it's not. But while I was there, because I was so, like, entertained by it, I was taking screenshots of, like, every single athlete's profile, and I was like, I could write the best BuzzFeed story about this.
Yes.
And then I was like, no, it's an invasion of privacy. I'm not going to.
Well, that's very noble of you. I think that people would definitely do that.
Yeah,
Lower character.
Kept it hush hush.
Was there anyone that stuck out that you particularly remember? You don't need to name names, but just like...
Oh, I mean, there was at the time a Canadian half-pipe skier that I had had a crush on for about 6 years. That was there, and I was just like, oh man, I hope I match with him. I hope I match with him. And then I found out that it was like 2 of his friends had made his account, and they were doing, and I was like, it's not even him.
That's a bummer.
I was really let down by it.
Did you meet up with anybody?
I did. So my first Tinder date was at the Olympics. It was a handsome British fellow from the BBC.
Whoa.
And
what a first experience.
We went on multiple magical dates. Yeah, it was great. Never found out his last name. We probably went out like 5 or 6 times over the course of the 40 or so days.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What did you do? Where do you go at the Olympics in Russia? Just like typical shit. Hey, you want to get dinner?
We went to, hotel bars basically, because there was nothing else.
Yeah.
I had another date too, where it was a skier that I had a crush on for like 2 years. And this
has to be like paradise for you, like that.
It really was.
First toes in the water of Tinder and online dating was like every person that you've ever had a crush on, ever.
But yeah, it was like there is not a more majestic like meet cute sort of situation than this. Mm-hmm. So he was actually just like, he was a speaker. He wasn't competing or anything. But we had matched, and we were like, oh, let's meet outside of McDonald's, because, there's not many options.
Well, it's American. The most American. We're in Russia for the Olympics. Let's go to McDonald's.
We didn't go to McDonald's. We just met outside of McDonald's. So we meet outside of McDonald's, and right as, like, the moment that we meet, a whole fireworks display just starts going
Wow.
up. And so we both are just like,
that's very romantic.
I guess we'll watch this. And so we sat there for like 30 minutes watching the fireworks. It's freezing cold outside. And then we went to a bar, and we sat down at the bar, and then it was instantly like every single person ever that he knew happened to walk in at that exact moment, and it was no longer a date. It was like
just a hangout.
Yeah, it was very sad for me.
Well, did you get to meet cool people? Was he friends with anybody cool? Was he like, oh, hey, this is my friend Sean White?
What's his name? Sal Masalka? Is that his name? Sal Masalka? Masalka?
Who's that?
The guy from the X Games that always announces everything.
Oh, okay.
Saul. And I was just like, oh, you.
I know you.
I know you.
Are you big into like extreme sports? Do you do them?
Oh, I skied for a very, very, very long time.
Okay.
I tried really hard to get really good, but I kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like getting hurt after getting hurt after getting hurt after getting hurt. And so, yeah.
Was it?
Didn't work out.
Wait, with the skiing, was it like racing or was it tricks?
I started racing and then I started park skiing and then I kind of moved more towards like big mountain. I like powder skiing and cliffs
That's so cool.
and that sort of thing. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's so cool. I went skiing one time and it was a disaster. It was like, well, I was also 10 years old or something like that. Not a good first experience.
You gotta go like 15. I mean, my first time I fell off the chairlift, so it was only like 10 feet up, but I still fell off the chairlift.
So, first experience on dating apps about 5 years ago at the damn Olympics.
Yep.
Big step down once you leave there, isn't it?
Yeah, it was so disappointing.
You're just meeting a bunch of fucking regular people.
Yeah.
Are you gonna win gold for your country? No. Then why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, it was funny. Like I came straight back to Los Angeles after that, and well, no, God, my Tinder history is amazing. So I came to Los Angeles after that and then like went back up to Mammoth where I was living. And so I got home in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then in May, so you know, I was Tindering in a town of 8,000 people.
Yeah.
When it was still somewhat new, so it was more like just matching nonstop with my friends, basically.
People that you already knew.
Yeah. The joke became, you know, like, no, never mind. Disregard.
Wait, what was the joke? You can't just leave the joke dangling.
It's not real. It's not funny. No, it's just like, you know, like if you're using Tinder, you just like, you figure that every single person that you find on Tinder, like in a ski town, like your friends have already slept with. It's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
The real definition.
It's just really.
Eskimo bros or whatever.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is. It's just like anyone that you see that's remotely attractive, just figure that like 5 of your friends have already slept with them.
Man.
So dating in ski towns is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I left Mammoth was because I ran out of people.
That cannot be true.
Yeah, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. It was just like I had dated everyone that was dateable, or my friends had dated everyone that was dateable, and I didn't want to like.
Yeah.
It becomes this thing that like you date somebody and you're like, oh, they're a great person, not for me. Hey, friend, you should date them instead. And then your friend marries him, and it gets weird.
You can't like Aaron Samuel, Regina. That's Regina's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, like I've dated a few of my friends' husbands. Like it's like
wow, that's
weird.
creepy. Did you go to weddings? Give a speech?
I've never. No, I haven't been to any of the weddings. I was traveling and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so by May, I had matched with another guy, and this is probably my most entertaining Tinder story. Everything's going to be downhill after this.
Oh, great. We're 12 minutes in.
Okay. So I met this guy on Tinder. I was in Mammoth. He was living in Tahoe, and he was a skier. Mm-hmm. I was a skier. And his friends took his phone and were Tindering for him, and there were, you know, I didn't know this. I thought I was talking to him, and they were like, "Come meet us at the bar." Anyway, so I met him at the bar. We had an awesome night, and then we went to the hot springs the next day. It was great, and then he was like, "I'm going to Indonesia for 6 weeks," and I was like, that's really cool. And so we started messaging on Facebook, and he was like, you should come to Indonesia. And I was like, oh, haha. And he was like, you should come to Indonesia. And I was like, you say that too many times.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to Indonesia.
Well, you're a traveler. You like to travel all
I travel a lot.
Yeah, talking to you, we just met like an hour ago, and I got a little background of you. It seems like you are always traveling, so don't threaten Rachel with a good travel because she will take you up on it.
So, he kept saying that I should come to Indonesia, and I was like,
knock, knock, knock. Guess what, motherfucker?
And I was like, the flight's only like $1,000. And he was like, oh, that's not bad. And I was like, well, because I was doing freelance at the time, I was like, well, I'm waiting. I don't get paid for another week for this project, so I can't really afford it. And he was like, I'll buy it. You can pay me back. And I was
Wow. Wow. This guy must be pretty fucking loaded, too.
Okay. No. He's a dirtbag skier. No one's loaded. So we made a plan. We coincidentally both had the same birthday.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I arrived to Indonesia on my birthday.
On both of your birthdays.
On our birthday. To a fellow that happened to be experiencing dengue fever when I arrived.
Wait, what is that?
You get it from mosquitoes.
Oh,
It's just one of those mosquito diseases.
So what is that? Like,
so basically
what
he
are
was
the
like,
symptoms?
he was, it was worse at night. Like he'd feel super, super like hot and have these terrible sweats and he couldn't eat anything. And, it was really, really awful. And so like the first 5 days we were there, like mind you, we'd only spent a day and a half together.
Yeah.
And we're about to spend 2 weeks in the hotel rooms together.
And
he had dengue fever. Yeah, like we had to go to the hospital.
Happy birthday.
And so he finally was getting better. And then, we had like 4 good days.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, let's, we didn't get to do anything for our birthday because you were sick and whatnot. So we were like, let's celebrate our birthday on America's birthday.
Oh, 4th of July.
So on the 4th of July, we went to like one of the nicest restaurants on the island we were at. It was an all-you-could-eat buffet.
Oh, that's fucking American as hell.
And there was one thing we didn't share that night. It was, I had some peanut chicken skewers. I woke up the next day with salmonella poisoning.
Oh, no.
So at least with his illness, it was just like sweats and like shivers and like, it was manageable. Mine was like, this is way too much information, but like explosive like diarrhea.
Yeah.
I
don't know why I got so excited about the fuck yeah, diarrhea.
Yeah,
kid.
it's disgusting. No one should ever know this. But so, it was one of those things that I was kind of trying to hide it at first. I was like, oh, my stomach's a little upset. I'm going to go to the room. And he's like, oh, maybe you have Bali belly. And I was like, yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
And that's something that's like lasts 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just progressively started getting worse and started getting
man.
worse and worse. And like I was crying because the cramping hurt so bad. And this is a guy I had just met.
Yeah. Yeah, you but also you flew to Indonesia for him.
I did. We had only had like 4 quality days.
Yeah.
And so it was like the 3rd or 4th night of me being sick. I needed to get some Advil for my stomach because I was just feeling so awful, and bent down to get the Advil out and like literally shit myself.
Pooped your pants
on the white like ceramic hotel room floor.
Oh, wait, were you not wearing pants?
I mean, I was basically like wearing underwear and like a tank top.
Okay,
it was
okay,
like
okay.
hot and gross.
Yeah. It's like, were you Donald Duck in it or something?
No, but I mean, like when you squat and you're that sick, it's not a pleasant situation.
Trust me, I've been there.
Okay. I'm glad we share this in common. And I was just like, don't move. Like, I'm going to direct you outside. I need you to stay outside for like half an hour. Like, I can't have you in here right now. And he's like, what's up? And I'm like, don't turn on the light. I just need to take care of something.
Look outside. Look at this. It's the craziest thing happening outside. Just don't.
Oh my God. Yeah, so the rest of the trip I was sick. So out of 14 days, we had 4 good ones. I had to fly back to the United States with salmonella poisoning.
Oh, were you just like on the toilet?
It was
in
the
plane
worst.
The whole time?
I took a bunch of Imodium before so that I could like survive, but it was terrible. I would not wish that upon anyone ever.
Well, how much longer was he in Indonesia for after that?
Like 2 weeks.
Okay. Was it pretty much over after you shit on the floor?
No, we
Sorry to put it.
We were together for 6 more months.
Oh, there you go. Good for him. Good for that guy for looking past you pooping on the floor. Did you ever reveal to him like?
Oh no, he knew.
Oh, okay.
He knew. He knew what was up.
Well, that's a very.
And I mean, slightly more awkward. Not more awkward than that, but after that, once we were both in the United States, like I still wasn't fully better because I had been traveling and doing all these extraneous things. Right after he got back, he invited me to go stay on his dad's island. His dad doesn't really have an island, but he kind of has an island. In the California Delta.
This guy sounded more and more
No,
rich.
like this is like a hippie, like
a commune.
Like, maybe like 150 square feet, like land with a tiny little dock, and he had like a houseboat that no longer ran, sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's basically like you slept on the dock on like a raised piece of wood, and the bathroom was a bucket.
Hell yeah.
So I was still sick. He was like, "Oh, I have a surprise for you." Brings me to the Delta. So I'm still sick, like getting on a boat, like, what are we doing? We get to this dock and I'm like, cool. So I still have like the salmonella problem. Your dad's here and I'm about to shit in a bucket in front of you both with all the noises.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
There was not a lot of privacy on that.
There was no privacy. There was a curtain. So yeah, I mean, we kept dating after that, but it was just like really rough on me.
Well, I have to give kudos to that guy for being like, you know what, it's cool. We all shit ourselves sometimes. Yeah. It's cool. I know that you're pooping in a bucket. It's fine.
I feel like this conversation is so gross right now.
Why? It happens to people.
Okay.
Dude, if I told you the amount of times that I have diarrhea basically every single day.
That's what all of the people wanted to hear about.
I don't care.
You don't care. Okay, then we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend that I like, if we have particularly gnarly poops, we take a picture of it and we send it to each other.
Oh, God.
And it's a girl.
Okay.
So it's not like, dude.
That's great.
It's like the book. Everybody
That's
poops.
really good. I'm so glad.
So, so we were talking a little bit before. So I met you on Tinder.
Yep.
You have a little bit of an interesting story with your Tinder. But are you on any other dating apps currently? Or just
Tinder?
What makes
I
Tinder
deleted Bumble.
What makes Tinder stand out to you as like the best?
It's not the best. It's just the one that everyone uses.
Yeah.
And there's no time constraints, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, we were talking before we started doing recording that like Bumble, you have a problem with the Bumble 24-hour rule.
Yeah, it's just like I hate notifications, so I have all the notifications turned off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I check it sporadically, and then it'll be like, oh, this person looks awesome, but like I don't want to have a conversation right now, so I'm going to say hi, and that's all I have time for, and then that's not like let's have a great conversation starter, and then, or it's the sort of thing like I'll go on like 2 days later and be like, oh, I matched with somebody. Totally missed this. Damn, this person looked great. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
That's too bad. Yeah, and I just didn't care for that. And everyone who's on Bumble is on Tinder.
Yeah, I think that everybody that's on one is on all of them.
Yeah.
So I think I was talking with you about how like when I'm on dating apps to date, it's like I'm on Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, and then it's just kind of like,
And you match on all three.
yeah, exactly. You go for the trifecta, and then I think every time that has happened where I've matched with a person on all three, we've never met. So,
Oh, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah. No, anytime like something like that happens, I'm like, yeah, we should probably meet.
Yeah, but no such luck for old Joey boy, you know?
Sorry.
Oh, well. So tell us about your Tinder restrictions that you got here. Because you have an interesting little bit of, you got into some trouble with Tinder.
This is like my least good story.
I think it's really interesting because I never heard of it before.
You haven't even heard my second or third or fourth best stories.
Well, we got nothing but time, Rachel.
I know.
Your date canceled on you tonight.
He did. He's know what he's missing.
Yeah, he got diarrhea pooping in a bucket that he could be talking about.
We have the same personality type, so...
Oh, yeah?
Apparently, my personality type works well with people that have the exact same personality type.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Everyone else, like... horoscopes, screw that stuff, but, like, INTP...
Yeah, your Myers-Briggs thing?
Yeah,
Did you ever actually study that? Because it's a bunch of bullshit.
I agree and disagree at the same time. Because so much of that stuff's blatantly obvious. Like, you're an extrovert or an introvert. Like, you don't need to take a test to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really don't need to take a test to know that. Like, you're traditional or you're, like, a crazy person like me. You don't need to take a test to know that.
Yeah.
Like...
Do you actually, like, buy into it, though? Where you're like, if you see somebody who has a personality type on their profile, you're, like, more apt to swipe right on them or something?
Only with, like, two different scenarios.
Really? Explain.
I really, really, really like people that are very different from myself.
Okay.
So if I see somebody who has, like, the exact opposite of me, I'll be like, oh, let's, like, you're as different as it gets. Like, I'm interested in that. Like, let's see what happens. And then when somebody's, like, nearly identical to me, I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, oh, we're the same person. Yeah. I like myself, so I'll like you too. So, yeah, in those two scenarios, I'm like, let's do this.
Who do you think you're more likely to see yourself with, like, in a relationship, though? The complete opposite of you or someone that's exactly like you?
Both of those scenarios. Anything that's in the middle is always the stuff that is just kind of like fizzles out and goes sad.
So what are your letters then?
I'm an INTP.
What, introvert?
Yes. Intuitive. Thinking. Perceiving.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've constantly written that test off because I studied it in college, and I found, like, how completely flawed it is, and
it's very much so like horoscopes, but, like, those four things, I mean, except for the second one, like, are so blatantly obvious that it's not like it's like a, you know, so for me to just see somebody being like, oh, I'm introverted, I am not hyper emotional, and, like, I'm a weird person, I'm like, yeah, me too, I like you. And I identify with that.
So, hold on. I don't know how we got here.
I was saying that I swipe right on personality types.
So how did you get sort of banned from Tinder?
Okay, so that story again. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing I can come up with is that, at least this is what Reddit says, is that I deleted and restored my account too many times. And that it was the sort of thing that, like, I'd be traveling and then I'd come back and I'd be like, oh, I don't know who these people are. Or I'd date somebody and I'd come back and be like, well, I want to start over. And so it even gives you the option of, like, clicking, like, I want a fresh start.
Yeah, I just deleted it, and it's like, what's the reason for why you're deleting your account? I met someone, I'm not interested in anyone, and then one of them is like, I want to reset my matches, or I want a fresh start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I selected that one, and then I did that, and then it was like, you have no matches. And that lasted for a few days. And then, like, when I like, deleted, like, fully deleted, signed out, and tried to come back. And then it was like, sorry, you've been banned from Tinder.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I literally did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it's
like, I've been able to do this for the last 4 years. What changed?
Yeah. Yeah, because I've deleted my profile and gotten back on a million times, probably.
Yes. Not that many times.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've probably done that like maybe like 20 times over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, because you meet people.
Yeah.
And other times it's just like, I'm not meeting anybody, or you want to, there's just a million different reasons to delete your profile and then want to get back on it.
And so I went through customer support, and they were, all the answers were like, oh, we're not restoring accounts at this point. We're not doing that at this point. We're not doing it at this point. I'm just like, I literally did nothing wrong. This is how I date people because I'm an introvert and I hate going to bars and I don't want to talk to people unless, like, I know who they are.
Yeah. Unless I can.
There's nothing more terrifying than trying to start a conversation in person. So, saved me, and then they took it away from me. So now I use the website.
And this is what was the most interesting to me, because I didn't even know that Tinder had a website. How do you right swipe on a website? Is it just like the arrow keys?
You just click on the arrows.
Is it just Tinder.com?
Yeah.
See,
it's just Tinder.com.
I think even when you told me about that, I still didn't go to it. Mm-hmm. I wonder if I could access my
Yeah, you can.
Well, I'm not even on it anymore.
But the whole thing is, if you do that from your computer and then you too get deleted, then you're ruining the computer as a backup opportunity.
Oh.
Because before it was connected to my Facebook account, and now if you use the computer app, you don't have to connect it to your Facebook. You can verify your email and stuff. No, so yeah, I just did it through email and didn't use my Facebook to connect it, and then I recreated my Tinder. Tinder, please don't delete me for doing that. I need you.
I don't think you need Tinder for that, but I feel like if you're...
I want to go to Bumble. Don't make me use Bumble.
Well, have you never used Hinge before?
I did use Hinge, and my only experience with Hinge was that I coincidentally matched with 2 roommates. They figured out that they had both matched with me. I didn't know they were roommates, and then they had an argument over who was going to get to go on a date with me because only one of them could. I jokingly suggested that we could just become, a trio.
Yeah. You could have a first date between the 2 of them, and it's kind of like a real life reality
and I was
show.
just saying that, we, you already live together. This can it can be communal. They didn't like that. So... they chose each other.
Oh, they were just like, I'll let you take her. And then the other guy was like, no, you take her.
No, it was more like, well, I want to go. It was like a long texting argument sort of thing. And then they were finally like, we're fighting over a girl that we've never met before. This is stupid. And I was like, it is, guys. So just make a decision. And then they were like,
but this is incredibly entertaining.
They chose each other. And I can't blame them for that.
So you never met up with either of them?
No, I never met either of them.
Oh, man, that's a bummer. I was really hoping that you met up with both of them at the same time and just all right, you're just at dinner, 2 of the guys show up, and then you're just like, woo me.
God, I wish that's what had happened.
Give the rose to the winner.
I wish that had happened. But
next time.
It did not. So that was my experience with Hinge, and I just deleted it after that and was like, angry.
Man. So you're strictly Tinder gal.
Strictly Tinder these days.
So how often are you on it? Because the Bumble thing is a no-go because of the time restrictions.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like you'd be on the app too often if you're like, this is too much.
Yeah, I'm not. I maybe check it once or twice a week. And so I've become an extremely forward person on Tinder. My opening line has basically become, we should meet.
That is, as a guy, I will let you know, That is much appreciated.
Yeah. So generally, like the very first thing, like I'll message the guy and just be like, we should meet.
Yeah.
And then like 3 days later, I go on Tinder again and see that they've responded. I'll be like, here's my phone number.
Wow.
And so I have been on multiple Tinder dates where that is entire
just like
extent
a cold open
of the conversation was literally, we should meet. Okay, here's my number. What time? Where?
I feel like that would backfire so many times.
Then it happens and we meet. No, I've dated a few people for like a few months that way. It's worked out.
Well, that's good to hear.
I mean, you can tell a lot about a person from their profile.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Like what?
Just a big red flag for me is if you're using Snapchat filters.
Guys do that?
Yes.
I see that all the time on women where it's like the puppy dogs and the butterflies and shit.
That's an instant. So Snapchat filter is an instant no for me.
Yeah.
A low resolution photo is an instant no for me because I'm like, come on, you're smart enough to figure out how to like upload a decent photo.
Yeah. And you obviously have a smartphone or something.
Yeah, and then if they're all selfies, that's a big no for me.
Yeah.
And then if they have the same face in every photo.
Oh, just like the same.
I can't stand it when I'm like scrolling through and it looks like the exact same photo with like 6 different backgrounds. I'm just like, nope.
What?
Sorry.
See, I would have never even thought about that.
It's so ridiculous. It happens so much. Oh, also, holding a fish is a no.
This is a thing that I never realized until I got back on dating apps. And it's just like, I don't care how good of a hunter you are or like how good at fishing you are. Because apparently guys are out there with just dead animals in their grass.
There's so many dead animals on Tinder. And I'm just like, I don't... Like, that's great. You have a hobby, but, like, you're so proud of this, like, salmon. Like, literally anyone can do that.
I don't know if anybody can do that. I mean, if old men can do it, the bar's pretty low.
Fishing just takes time.
Yeah. Have you ever gone fishing?
I have.
Have you got a big...
I've caught, like, one of those, like, flat sunfish kind of floppy things.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't really... It's not my world.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an instant no. I feel like there's more instant no's. Like there's a bunch of things like
shirtless mirror pics.
Yeah, that's an instant no. Any of a photo of a guy with his shirt off at the gym is definitely a no.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I like athletic. Like I was I'm a skier.
Person.
Like I'm an athletic person. Like I like athletic people. But the moment where you're like, look at my muscles. Cool. It's great for you. I'm so happy.
You gotta be a surprise ripped person.
Yeah.
Your voice just sounded so like, yeah.
So yeah, there's, a lot of things that are instant now. Tigers.
That's another one that I didn't realize a lot of people have. A lot of pictures with tigers.
A lot of drugged animals.
Yeah.
Those make me sad.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically any photo where the person's like, I'm going to post this photo because it makes me look interesting. That's super pretentious of me to say.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say, I mean... You want to look interesting.
No, you want to look
like
interesting. But, like, you should be posting photos that are going to make people ask about the pictures that you've posted.
Yeah.
That are interesting. Like, oh, what were you doing at this thing? Or things that, like, show that you have, like, friends and family and that you enjoy.
Yeah,
like,
or like a hobby.
Life, a hobby, things like that.
Except if it's fishing. If that's your hobby, get fucked.
I mean, no. If fishing's your hobby, like get a picture of you like dressed up in your gear, or like with your friends, or like holding the cooler and being like, "Yeah, we got the big catch today." Not like this, like super stereotypical. I'm gonna hold a fish with my 2 hands that's like a foot long and be like, "This is the greatest thing to ever happen." No. No one cares about your fish.
So I think that you briefly mentioned earlier that you don't like going to dates at bars or something, right?
No, I love bars.
Really?
Yeah, I'm super introverted and alcohol helps.
I was going to say, what is your idea of a good first date then? Just getting drinks, or if you're like, if you were to be like, this is where I would like to go for all of my first dates, or this is what I would like to do.
Honestly, for me, it's probably just going to a bar and getting drinks.
Okay.
Because I am an extremely introverted person. I'm really, really shy.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a drink or two makes me feel more comfortable.
A little more courageous.
Like a little more courageous, a little bit more talkative. One of my big things is like when I'm first sitting down to, meet a guy, I'm like, you would think that like I've been on like, I'm probably around 150 Tinder dates at this point.
Yeah.
And you would think at that point, like, I'd be really good at it. But I'm still super nervous every single time.
Really?
Like, I'm terrified.
You're not dead in the soul yet?
No.
Well, that's
my
good.
heart
You know
is
what?
black, but...
That's good to hear, because I feel like so many people just go into it just like, fuck it, I guess I'll just meet this person. Who cares? I'll have like 3 other dates lined up this week. It's just like, if this isn't great, I got a couple other ones,
Oh, I'm super hopeful for every single date that I go on, unless I'm traveling.
Yeah. Unless you're
and
in
then
Boston.
I'm very upfront and being like, I've had dinner alone every night this week. I would love to have some great conversation.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But for me, like, the drinking helps because one of my things, like, when I'm really nervous, I have a tendency to, get caught up in the nervousness that it's not that I'm not interested in the person. It's like I'm so, like, I don't know how to carry the conversation in a natural way. So my questions, my, behavior comes off as if I'm not interested and I'm just like reading questions off of a script or something. And that's not intentional.
Yeah.
But you put a drink or two in me and I'm like, oh, hey.
A little more flow.
Yeah. I become, less nervous and it's easier. And, I've been on dates and stuff where the person doesn't drink, and that's totally fine. It's just like, those are the ones that are hard for me because I'm like, you seem so cool and so lovely, but I am terrified and I don't know how to communicate with you. So, in that sort of situation, like, it's not like I rely on alcohol. Like, I think the only time I drink is when I'm not. I'm like, I don't like being hungover. I don't like any of that stuff. It's just like, it's literally me just trying to like get through the nerves.
Yeah. See, that's a problem that I run into a lot because I don't drink. And I don't drink, I don't smoke or anything. And usually if I'm talking to a woman and it's like getting to the point where we're about to go out on a date, a lot of times she'll be like, you want to go grab a drink? I'm like, I mean, we can. I don't drink. So I'm totally cool if you do, but I'm not going to be doing that, and that might be weird for you.
Yeah.
And then that's when it usually is just like, oh, we can do something else.
Yeah.
A lot of people are usually open and like cool about that, but there have been people where it's like, I don't drink. They're just like, well, sorry, buddy, I'm done with that then.
Yeah.
Just like, fuck.
I'm totally okay with it. I just need to like make it super clear that I'm going to be so awkward for at least 2 hours. So, sorry. It's just
to
like,
all the non-drinkers out there, be prepared.
Like
if you match
with Rachel, she's gonna be really freaking awkward for like 2 hours, and then it'll probably be okay.
Yeah, then it'll loosen up. You get a little like softening.
Then I get more
the
comfortable.
walls start to come down.
Yeah.
So have you ever been on any like egregiously bad first dates or just dates in general?
I feel like the answer to that is yes, and I've blacked them out. I mean,
Like, what's the most common, if you're on a date with somebody and it's going bad, how do you tell? How can you tell?
Oh, I can't. I am so oblivious to
Really?
that. Yeah, it's it's one of those things, back to like personality type or whatever. I generally like take people for their word. Like if they say something or if they're still spending time around me, I generally assume that like things are going okay. And when I'm not interested in a person, I'm just like I'll be having a good time, and then if they try to make an advance, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, like I'm enjoying my time with you right now, but I'm not interested in you."
Okay.
So I tend to be very just upfront about that, but I do not pick up on the social cues of like, and I've had that happen before where there was a guy that I was super, super into, and we had been at a bar and we'd been talking for like 2 or 3 hours at the bar, and I was just like, I can't tell, do you like me? And he was just so like caught off guard.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
We ended up dating for like 3 months.
There you go. Sometimes it's also hard to be honest if someone puts you on the spot like that.
Yeah. So,
because I've been on dates where it's like I feel like it's not going well, and then I think it happened a couple times where the girl was like, "Are you even into me?" And I so wasn't, but I also was just like, I don't want to be like, no, you know.
I've said that. No.
You do that? Well,
I want to say it was like a month and a half ago.
That somebody.
I went on a date with a guy, and it was one of those things. I saw his pictures, and I was like, oh, like, and I was like, he's clearly smart, and his photos are good, and you know, we're like, we live 4 miles away. Neither of us have anything to do right now. Let's meet.
Yeah.
And the moment that I met him, I was just like, these photos, man.
Oh,
like,
you got catfished.
Not entirely, like, you know, I could tell that the photos were him sort of thing, but it was one of those things where it was like, it was cropped right, and it was,
the best lighting.
The best lighting, and so, you know, and we had a great conversation and everything, and then he, like, you know, tried to move in closer, and I was just like, he's like, do you want to, you know, go somewhere else? And I was just like, I'm letting you know, I think you're awesome, and I don't want to date you though.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not interested. That was that.
Well,
so
I think that little bit of honesty is refreshing, because just like me, I have a hard time where it's like, do you even like me? And be like, no, what, are you kidding me? If somebody did that to me where they were just like, hey, this isn't a thing. That happened to me one time. It was like one of my first dates when I moved to LA. I went and I got dinner with this girl, and then we were about to head our separate ways, and we hugged, and then she was just like, hey, it was really nice to meet you, but I just want to be upfront. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. And I was just like, huh, all right. This is nice. Like, it's so much nicer to know where you stand as opposed to trying to do all this guesswork and then, like, oh, I'll hit you up when I'm free, and then you just never hear from them. And
yeah, that's 100% my thing. I'm like, I will never ghost anyone. Like, I think that's the worst.
Yeah.
Like, there's no worse feeling than, like, not knowing, being like, oh, this was so wonderful, why isn't he responding to me, or anything like that. So yeah, I'm not that person at all.
Well,
and I hope that people.
I wish I had a gold star to give you or something, because that's, I mean, a lot of the people that come on this podcast, when I ask, like, what do you think is like the worst part about dating, almost all of them are like ghosting. Everybody's like ghosting, but it happens so often. Nobody likes it, but it still keeps happening. You know, I don't understand it. Because if you get ghosted, it might be some kind of like exacting revenge. Just like, oh, well, I get ghosted all the time, so I guess it's okay. I'll just fucking ghost this other person.
Yeah,
Who cares?
It's so messed up.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, my thing is, like, I try to be the person that, like, I tell people I am.
Yeah. Well, dude. Oh, my God.
It's like, it's the
another
easiest
gold
thing.
star for you.
Like, Just being real. That's what I do. I mean, I've screwed up before. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, have there ever been any dates or relationship kind of things where you were dating somebody that you feel like you messed it up?
Mm-hmm.
There were
Always.
a lot of times when people come on and I'm like, you have any like bad first dates or like bad dating stories? And they're like, yeah, well, this other person was a fucking piece of shit and they did blah, blah, blah. And like, we've all had a story like that, but I think it's more telling when someone is like, yeah, I fucked this up.
Yeah, like, I mean, I try to, like, you know, so many people with dating apps and stuff are so flaky and they, you know, whatever. And I refuse to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I refuse. Like, I'm like, no, I am not the person that stands anyone up ever.
Yeah.
And maybe like 2 months ago, this guy and I had like a great conversation. We talked on the phone. I never talk to people on the phone.
Oh my God, me neither. I fucking hate that.
I do too. I hate phone conversations. It's so weird for me. And, you know, he called me on the phone and I somehow survived like an hour and a half conversation. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll meet you.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, so tomorrow, like, I'm going to be in Pasadena. Like, let's get coffee. And I was like, oh, okay, good. And I don't know what was going on in my brain to mess this up so terribly. But I'm looking up coffee shops in Pasadena, being like, okay, I think Intelligentsia's open. I think, like, I remember there was this great coffee shop. I think that's open. What is it called? And looking it up, and I'm just like, oh, hey, this coffee shop's open, you know, until 8 o'clock on Sundays. We can go there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow happened to be Saturday. And I'm telling him that this is open till Sunday, like this time on Sunday. So in my head, we were meeting on Sunday, despite him saying tomorrow.
Oh,
and
no.
so he shows up there, and I'm just
on
Saturday, and I'm just like,
what did he text you like, hey, where are you?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe I screwed this up. I'm like, I am so sorry. I somehow had this in my head that it was tomorrow. I'm like, I can be there in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I am like, I am in pajamas right now, but I will be there in 20 minutes. Or we can reschedule. If you want to drive home right now, I will meet you in your neighborhood. Like,
yeah.
How can I fix this? I'm so sorry. And I have never had somebody try to make me feel so terrible.
Wow.
About something like that. And then his final response was, the only way you can make this up to me is if you show up in yoga pants with a 6-pack at my front door. And I was like, cool, glad this didn't work out.
Yeah. That's fucking... If I get ghosted, though, I will kind of guilt trip, though. I've been ghosted before, and I was just kind of like, well, it's not so much a guilt trip as just kind of like an honesty thing where I'm just like, oh, well, this is like such a big bummer, and I was really looking forward to meeting you. But I guess that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, I think yours is more gentle. I call people out.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, there was one time where I called somebody out who ghosted me. I was talking, it was a woman who was a comedian, and... So I'm a comedian. Yeah. So it was like I was going to see her again. But she was like, yeah, let's go out. And I was like, okay, cool. Are you free Thursday? And then nothing. And then a couple days later, I saw her. And she was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, what's up? You fucking ghosted me. That's what's up. And she was like, what? And it felt so good to call somebody, have that opportunity to call somebody out on that.
Yeah, mine's usually just like a text message like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Like, you know, I get it if you're not interested in me, but at least like give me enough respect to tell me that. That
is kind of the same kind of text message that I send it if I'm being ghosted.
Yeah. And then usually that'll like warrant a response. They'll be like, yeah, I'm sorry. I just, you know, didn't want to make you feel bad. And I'm like, yeah, well.
This feels worse. This feels way worse.
Like just getting a straight answer feels way better.
Yeah. I don't know how people think that that's like protecting.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't get that at all.
Confrontation is scary.
Yeah.
They need to protect their souls. They're so fragile.
I actually used to do a joke that my buddy Paul like ruined for me because my friend Paul, he has this thing where he if he likes a joke of yours, he'll just quote it at you nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this joke about somebody that blew me off from a dating app or something. And what happened was she said that she was going to meet me somewhere, and then I went to the place, and then she just kind of like bailed at the last minute. And I sent her the text message of like, hey, look, like, I was really looking forward to getting to know you and meeting you, but like this kind of sucks for me, you know. I'm already here, and yeah, you know, I was looking forward to this. And then the girl said something like, stop it, you're making me feel bad. And I was just like, good, you should feel bad, you know. Yeah. But my friend Paul, he would always quote the part, because my voice gets so high during it, he would just, anytime that somebody would like jokingly insult him or something, he'd just go, stop it, you're making me feel bad. So it just like, I heard him do that so often that like
you can't say it anymore.
Yeah, it was like a thing in my mind where it's just like, fuck, this is how annoying I sound or whatever.
I'm like, dude, like, if you don't like me, like, I'm not gonna be upset about it. Like, I only want to be with somebody that actually likes me.
Yeah, or
like,
respects you enough to tell the truth or something.
So it's kind of funny. Like, anyone who would ghost me isn't the sort of person that I would want to be in a relationship with anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like
why are, yeah.
But it's like, I'm like, you can at least have enough decency to like respect human beings and like tell them what's up.
I've also, when I've sent that message to some people, there's the overriding theme of like, I don't owe you anything, you're a stranger, etc., which is also fair, but also like, we're adults, you know. I can understand, and there's some people that don't understand it, where it's just like, what, you're not into me, you must be a fucking bitch or whatever, where it's, I don't understand how
I've gotten that before.
I believe it. I mean, that's, people like that are out there ruining respect for other people. Yeah. Because like, you don't want to get ghosted, but there are people doing shit like that. So you can't really fault someone that's ghosting you. It's just like whole cycle, whatever, where you don't want to be ghosted, but you also understand why it happens, because there are fucking psychos out there who are just like, oh, you don't do this, you fucking bitch, whatever. Show up the only way that you can be forgiven is if you show up with a 6-pack and yoga pants at my front door.
Yeah, I went on one date with a guy, and the date was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I would have gone on a second date with him.
Mm-hmm.
But the second date that he was inviting me to, so I, was living on the east side, working on the west side, hour commute in the morning.
Brutal.
It's a long sort of thing. And he was like, oh, come watch a movie at 9:00 at night on Wednesday on the west side. And I was like, well, I don't really want to do something that late because I still have to go back to the east side. And he's like, well, you can spend the night. And I'm like, literally our second date. And I'm like, I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm going to stay the night on the second, I didn't want to do that. And I was like, oh, I don't really feel comfortable with that. And he's like, oh, well, you can sleep on the couch. Like, it's totally fine. Like, I'm not going to pressure you into anything. And I'm like, that's not the point.
It's still kind of weird.
I was so put off by it. And he's like, I don't understand why you're being so, like, picky about this. Like, that's really ridiculous that you don't want to spend time with me. And I'm like, we've literally been on one date. You're asking me on a second date that is watching a movie at your house at 9:00 at night with not even like an assumption, but with like a clearly stated fact that you expect that I'm spending the night.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. No. Like, this isn't going to work out. So, and I even told him that. I'm like, you know what? I'm not interested in this. Like, this is, you're really trying to pressure me into something that I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, good luck. Best of luck. And then it was just this string of like profanity after that, where he was just like trying to belittle me and make me feel bad about myself. And he was like, you weren't even that great anyway. I can't even believe that I even gave you the chance. And I'm just like, wow, I hurt your ego bad.
It sucks
Sorry,
to hear.
Dude.
It sucks to hear stories like that. It just makes me lose so much faith in humanity, you know? Like, God. Yeah. That happens more often than you would ever like it to, ever like to think that it happens, but goddamn, does it happen.
Bad.
Do you have any other fucking just awful dating stories, or?
This is a good and ghosting story.
Let's hear it.
It's both good and ends up in ghosting.
Okay. I'm all ears, baby.
So I went on a Tinder date with a guy, and we met at like 2:00 in the afternoon for lunch, sort of thing. And we were like having a really great time, and it was great, and it was fantastic. And we were talking, and he loves camping, and I love camping, and I was talking about how I lived in Mammoth, and I was like, and we, started talking about like hot springs and all that kind of stuff. And he was like, I love hot springs. And I'm like, oh, have you been to the hot springs up there? And he was like, no. And I'm like, how have you not been there? And I'm like, you've been to Yosemite though, yeah? And he's like, no. And after this, I was like, you love camping. You literally have like a bed in the back of your car so that you can camp, and you haven't been to Yosemite? I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Also, what's stopping you?
And so we literally decided at like 5:00 in the evening that we were going to drive to Yosemite.
First date? Drive to Yosemite?
Yeah. From Culver City.
This guy is totally going to end up being a homeless person, isn't he?
So we drive up to, like to Mono County to where all the hot springs are and stuff, and we camped overnight. Woke up, drove to Yosemite the next day. Like, we basically had like an awesome, super wonderful 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, got along perfectly. We're like singing Third Eye Blind loudly in the car, sort of thing. And
that's the telltale sign of a great relationship.
It
Third
was
Eye Blind.
So
singing.
good. And then the next morning, it was like Sunday morning, and he had to work like Sunday afternoon. And I could tell that he was super, super, super exhausted. And I was like, I don't have anything to do in the afternoon. So I was like, I'll drive.
Yeah.
It's not my car, but I'll drive.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much asleep the entire time. And I was just cruising, drove to my house. And I was like, okay, bye. I'll talk to you later. And I messaged him, and I was like, that was really fun. Yeah. That was awesome. Like, let me know when you're free again. Nothing.
How?
Nothing. I was just like...
You basically lived with this guy for 3 days.
3 days, yeah. And there was zero signs of any sort of disinterest from him, aside from the fact that he slept on the drive home.
Yeah.
But, like, he slept on the drive home because he had to go to work. At least that's what I thought he was sleeping. I have no idea.
And you never heard from that person again?
Never heard from him again.
That's so infuriating to hear. Like, I know if I was in that situation, I would be beside myself. Just like, what the fuck happened? Where is my closure?
Yeah. It's like...
Oh my God. That's a fucking epic date, though.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun.
For an introverted person,
fantastic.
You're very ballsy, though. Where you're like, you've never been to Yosemite? Let's go right now.
Yeah.
I'll sleep on the bed in the back of your car.
I don't know. I think I'm a lot for people. I mean, that's my explanation, is I think that I can be a lot.
What do you mean?
It's just, Yes, I'm very shy and very introverted, but like when I open up, like I really open up.
Yeah.
I don't really have any boundaries or filters or any of that sort of thing. And, you know, it's one of those things like I've done so many things, I've been so many places, I'm successful, I try to like be a good person and all of these kind of things. And it's like, you know, you hit your 30s and people are just like, oh, you have your shit together and I don't, and so I don't want to be with you because
it's kind of like emasculating.
That's
your theory?
That's one of my theories. And you know, it's yeah, so you start having conversations and stuff and people are like, oh yeah, I did this, and I'm like, oh yeah, so this is my story. This is my version of that. And it's like, for me, it feels like a natural conversation. Like, I'm not like, ooh, you haven't traveled all over the world, you're not worthy. No, I'm like, I respect you as a human being and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just my experience. So if you want to get to know me, you're going to hear my experience.
That's part of dating, is getting to know.
And
like...
I happen to be a crazy person. Not like that. Mentally crazy, but like crazy in the sense that like I think jumping off cliffs is like a good time and going to Indonesia for a second date is a good idea.
Going to Yosemite for a first date.
For a first date is a good idea. Like, you know, I don't hold back.
See, I like that. And that is super unique and interesting to me, because there have been times where I've tried to plan a very unique first date and it's backfired on me. I've talked about this on this podcast before, where it's like I plan something and then you get ghosted the day of, and it's like, oh no, well I have this ticket. I have these tickets and I guess I'm gonna go alone now. Like, this sucks. But yours seems more spontaneous, where it's just like your initial date wasn't let's go to Yosemite. It was like, we're at a bar, we're having a good time, I like you, let's just go.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I mean, and it's not like that's just my dating world. Like, that's how my life like works. I once moved to Switzerland with a 1-week notice and told my parents while I was at the airport.
Yeah.
Like,
you just moved to Switzerland by yourself?
Yeah. For 6 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's ballsy. Awesome, ballsy. Also, you know, I feel like if you're going to go doing that and then I don't know, this isn't like advice or anything, it's just how I would interpret it. It'd be hard to be in a relationship with, if somebody that I was dating was like, I'm just going to move to Switzerland for however long. Like, a lot of people don't have jobs that allow that or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a turnoff for some people. I know when I was living in Mammoth, the one that got away, however you want to call it, you know, he was just like, if you hadn't moved, we'd probably still
Was this the
be
Indonesia
together.
guy?
What?
Was this Indonesia guy?
No, this is
a different guy.
Another guy. This is a guy that I met in real
life.
human life.
Wow, that's so bizarre. That's like illegal now.
I know. Yeah, that was one where he had actually like told one of my coworkers that he was a bartender and he was into me, and so I went to the bar and like had some drinks and then wrote my phone number on the receipt when I gave it back to him, and that started it all.
Almost never works out like that. Almost never. So you moved from Mammoth?
Well, I kind of like partially moved. Like I went to Los Angeles for the summer sort of thing, and that was that. It's
nice to hear a woman say that she has a person that's like the one that got away. I posted a thing on Facebook a couple weeks ago where I was like, I generally do like kind of polls or something. And one of the polls that I put was like, hey, do I know any women that have someone that feels like a woman that feels like they have someone that's the one that got away?
Yeah. And
a lot of the responses were like one girl wrote a comment that was so douchey to me. It was like, women are only the ones who got away. I was like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, there's definitely, that's so douchey, you know, and that's someone that's never. I feel like that's someone that hasn't lived a full life yet, because you haven't had that heartbreak.
Yeah.
Of like, oh man, I fucked this up.
Yeah, like I'm very much of the opinion where there's not one person for everybody.
Okay, yeah.
Like as long as you're open, there's definitely a lot of different people that would make you super happy.
That was another poll that I put out there where it was like, do you think that there's the one, or do you think there's a lot of other ones? That's like kind of a cliche question though.
And I'm like I've dated 3 different guys where just the timing was wrong.
Yeah. That's such a shame.
And for whatever reason, like things didn't work out. Like I was with one of my really good friends last night, and we dated when I was 20, he was 21. So, and we were talking about it, and now, you know, he's in school again and everything, and he was in town for the week, and we were hanging out and we were talking about it and stuff, and like, you know, and he knows this, like he's my bar, like he set the bar for like what guys have to be. But when we were dating, he didn't know how to express that he was into me the right way. Yeah. So his way of doing that was like constantly making fun of me.
Oh, like the like the middle school thing.
Yeah.
Like teasing all the time.
And it got to the point where, because he was teasing me, like I was pretty okay with him teasing me, but then his little brother started teasing me and his friends started teasing me, and it just got to this point where it was like,
Do you even like me?
I even told him, I'm like, I don't like your friends calling me these names.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't mind when you do it, because when you do it, it's like a term of endearment.
Yeah.
When they do it...
Well, wait, if you don't mind, what were the names?
Oh, they were calling me like the Ice Princess, and...
Oh, man.
It was WGR, which was short for White Girl Rachel.
I'm going to defend White Girl Rachel.
Well, it was because, like, you know, none of his friends were white. All, you know, it was that sort of situation, and I was the white girl.
Okay. In the group. Yeah.
And so it became WGR and Ice Princess and, you know, all these things. And I was like, I get it. I'm white. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, can we just start seeing me as a human being?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of trouble with that in the past, where it's like, I don't know where the line is, and I'm like, I'm constantly teasing someone, and then it takes a second for them to just be like, hey, you're kind of being a dick right now. And it's like, I don't even realize it, because I'm just always, you know, I think I'm joking and teasing or whatever, and it's just like, I don't know when I've gone too far, and then you get called out on it, and then you just feel like, oh my God, I've been doing this for so long. Oh, this feels terrible now. You know, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like, I vocalized it, and it didn't stop. It didn't stop. And that's where I was like, I can't feel demeaned this way. Well, that's the thing. Like, we've stayed friends this entire time.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's gotten over that. He's, you know, fixed and matured, and he's like one of the best people I know.
So, if you don't mind me asking, what's stopping you guys from dating now?
He just likes to have sex with who it pleases.
Oh, okay.
He's not after a relationship.
Okay.
At all.
Okay.
Wow. And I totally respect that. Yeah. Like, he used to be this, like, really kind of scrawny, couldn't talk to girls sort of thing, and now he looks like he came out of, like, This Is Sparta.
This is a story very familiar to me.
So he should live it up.
Yeah.
He's got to live it up.
Yeah, that's a story that rings very true. That happened to me, where I was like, I think I talked about this on like maybe the last podcast or maybe 2 of them ago, but in college I was like super skinny, and then I had a girl kind of like body shame me about it. A girl that I was dating, and then I was like, fuck that, I'm gonna get super jacked and all this shit. And then I did, and then she kind of like broke my heart and all that stuff, and it was just like, then it's just like running wild for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I get where that guy's coming from.
Yeah, he deserves all of the sex.
Do you think
a super great guy.
Is there a little bit in the back of your mind that like one day he's gonna be like, Rachel?
No. No.
Yeah. Well.
No.
Oh,
I'm like, maybe when we're both 70 and alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, we get along so well that we can just like hang out and like sponge bath each other. But otherwise, I'm pretty okay there.
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things. Like, if we had figured it out younger or whatever, yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a really long time. I mean, it's been 14 years now.
Man.
The amount that both of us have changed.
Wait, how old are you?
34.
Why did you say it like that? 34.
Proud.
Yeah. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, no one does. It's really great when I'm in Mammoth and they're like 22 and I'm like, hey guys.
Hey, what's up, 22-year-olds?
No, while I was traveling for so long, there was like one instance where I was staying in a hostel in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a co-ed room because that's all they had left. And I got in super late, so I just like went to bed and I woke up and it was a room with me and like a British like college like soccer club sort of thing.
Man.
And so it was like me and just like 11 like 20-year-old like
giving me the vape,
walking around mostly naked, and I'm just like, God, this is good. And they all thought I was their age, and I was like, yeah, you know, people our age.
Yeah, I'll be whatever age you need me to be.
Yeah, people our age. I'm gonna try really hard to not give away. Like, oh, you watched Dora the Explorer? Great, me too.
Do you have like age limits where? Because I found that a lot of women that are interested in me are younger, and a lot of times when I would complain about dating something, people would be like, you need to date someone that's older than you. But in my experience, women that are older than me aren't interested in dating younger. Do you have any kind of like restrictions or age kind of things?
When I was 28, I was dating a 22-year-old for a while. Mm-hmm. So that's the youngest I've dated.
Yeah.
And then when I was 27, I was dating a 39-year-old.
Okay.
12 years older.
So it doesn't seem like there is.
I mean, it's one of those things, like, it doesn't really concern me. I think the thing that I look for more is that I'm more attracted to people that look like they're the same age as me rather than being the same age.
Okay.
Like, if I have a conversation with you and I'm like, you might be my age, you could be older, you could be younger, but like that sort of thing, like, I'm okay. Because I meet people that are, you know, the same age as me, and I'm like, you look like you're 10 years older than me at least. Yeah,
there was this one comic that I saw, and I just always assumed that she was like 10 years older than me. Mm-hmm. And then somebody told me that she was younger than me, and I was like, whoa, what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Weathered.
Yeah, so for me, it's like, and I get it, like, cool, you have surfed or whatever that put you in the sun and your skin's like, that's awesome. I honestly, it's one of those things that, like, yes, after I get to know you, I'll probably become more attracted to you if that's the sort of thing, but like, as far as instant attraction goes, like, if you look like you're within about 5 years of me, I'll probably be into you more.
Well, there you go. All right. Got a couple more questions for you before we wrap this old bad boy up. What is one thing that you would like to change about dating? If you could wave a magic wand and this thing is different, what would it be?
I think my biggest thing is just people like having integrity in the situation. We already talked about that, but just like being upfront about when they're not actually interested. Like, I never think that anyone's wasting my time. I never look at it that way. Like, if we date 2 months, like, no, you didn't waste my time. The only reason you would have wasted my time is if, you know, you spent a month going, oh, I don't want to be in a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And I was too afraid to say anything. But, like, I just think people need to be honest.
Okay. And this kind of goes along the same lines, and if the answer is the same, just say so. But what do you think is the worst part about dating?
It's expensive.
Fuck yeah, dude. I don't think anyone said that yet, but yes, that is, yeah.
I mean, even as
well, it's really also expensive if your second date is a trip to Iceland or wherever Indonesia.
Damn it. Right. Well, no, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I like to go, like, get a drink or whatever. So it's like, I'm Ubering there. Like, maybe he buys the first round, I buy the second round. Maybe there's a third, a fourth, who knows? But then it's like Ubering home. And, you know, by the end of the night, it's like, okay, I've invested like $70 into this. And it's like, that's not ultimately that much money. But when I'm doing that 2 or 3 times a week
adds up
for months at a time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. It's it's funny that no one has really said that yet. And like you just said it and I'm like, "Oh, fuck. Yeah, I agree so hard with that. It is ridiculously expensive." Yeah, that can only be on dating apps for like a week or two because like after that it's like, well, I need to stop because this is just getting out of hand expensive. And, oh god, yeah.
I just need to like invent a new date where like I bring a bottle of a whiskey in a paper bag to a park. Like, you can get down with us, we can be friends, okay? I'm ready. I'm committed.
All right, last question before the end of the old show. What is one piece of advice that you'd like to give everyone listening about dating?
It's usually not you. When people are like, it's not you, it's me, it's usually not you. It's probably not even them. I'd say the one thing I've learned is that people, you know, receive like emotion and love differently, and they require different things. Like, some people need to be touched. Some people need to have somebody who does everything for them. Some people need to be told explicitly. And if you have the wrong match, it's nobody's fault.
Yeah.
And you might see everything on paper that's seems perfect. But if you're with the person who really, really needs to be touched and you're not the sort of person who's really like lovey-dovey, it's not going to work.
It's never going to work.
And it's nobody's fault.
I think that is a great piece of advice. I think that was a very intelligent and like self-aware way to do that.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's like, yeah, I've been on 150 or so Tinder dates or whatever, and I think that's the number one reason, like,
oh god, sirens, they're coming for us.
It doesn't match up.
Oh god, there must be some kind of emergency going on.
Yeah.
I can hear sirens going on. Anyway.
They're like, Rachel, you've talked too long.
Rachel.
Stop now.
Rachel, you must have salmonella poisoning again. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you coming over and having a nice little chat with me.
It's lovely. Thank you.
Well, there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed my little chat with Rachel. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Yeah. For more information about the show, you can go to datingishardcomedy.com. Follow the Instagram, datingishardcomedy. You can follow me on Instagram @Joe Welkie to figure out what I'm up to, see all the updates about my life. The live show is every 4th Wednesday at Pack Theater, and Pack is a by donation theater, so that means if you can throw a few dollars their way, it goes a long way in helping the theater keep going. But if you can't, guess what? You're still invited to come to the shows. You can come and enjoy all of the shows there. But yeah, the Dating is Hard live show is a total blast, and everybody that's ever been has been a huge fan. So yeah, if you could like and share and subscribe and tell all your friends to listen to this, give a 5-star review. That goes a long way in helping this podcast grow, getting more ears on it. And I'd really love it if you guys could do that for me. Yeah, just 5 stars. Say say nice things. If you don't have nice things to say, please just don't. I could do without that. But yeah, if you want to help the show, that goes a long way. 5-star reviews on all the places and subscribing and yada yada yada. Telling your friends, if you know people that would be great for the show, I'm all ears. You can go to datingishardcomedy.com on the contact page and submit if you want to be on the show. Yeah, it's a open platform. If you've got crazy stories or crazy opinions, hit me up. And yeah, we'll see if we can get you on. All right, guys. Well, I just want to say I really appreciate you listening. Thank you so much for swinging by. And yeah, I'm having a great time doing this. I'm glad that you guys are listening. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Until next time. Later.